Welcome back. I'm Renee Ng. Earlier in the summer, Congressman Ted Lieu introduced a bill that would ban LGBTQ conversion therapy nationwide. He represents the 33rd District, which serves much of Western LA, including Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, the Palos Verdes Peninsula, and the beach cities. He's here in studio to talk about his proposed ban. Thank you so much for joining me, Congressman.
Thank you, Renee. Honored to be on In Focus.
So you introduced the Therapeutic Fraud Prevention Act of 2019. What would that legislation do?
So let me sort of take a step back. When I was in the California State Senate, I introduced the first law in the nation to ban gay conversion therapy for minors. I want to in Congress now ban it nationwide for everybody, and that's because this is based on fraud. Conversion therapy is not based on medical science or any scientific evidence. It is really based on an ideology and can harm people.
And for those who don't know what conversion therapy is, can you explain that and what the practice is?
Sure. It is the misguided belief that you can take someone who is gay or lesbian and try to, quote unquote, convert them to becoming straight.
And does conversion therapy, would you say it more or less presupposes that if someone is gay or lesbian, that it's a disease that can just be reversed or taken away?
Yeah, so it's a very backwards kind of ideology. Many decades ago, their psychiatrists and psychologists thought that being gay was in fact a mental disorder, and now we all understand that being gay and lesbian is simply a beautiful expression of being a human being.
Now, for let's say someone that is a licensed medical professional that does conversion therapy, does it make it more acceptable?
Not at all. In fact, if you're a licensed medical professional, you should absolutely not be doing this. The American Psychiatric Association and the American Psychological Association have all come out saying that this therapy can harm patients. There is no known evidence that supports this therapy. And again, it is not a disorder. It is not a disease. That's not a medical condition. So if you're a medical professional and you're trying to do this therapy, you're engaging in fraud because you're treating a disease that does not exist.
And how did you get interested in this topic?
Oh, so one day I was just sitting at home watching TV, and Anderson Cooper actually on CNN had a documentary called the Sissy Boy Experiments, and it was at UCLA in my district. And this was again many decades ago, where they would do these crazy things to little kids and tell the parents to, treat their little boys nicely if they play with boy toys, or if they act feminine, to be mean to them. And at the end of the day, they held up this kid saying, "We cured him." And he's no longer, quote unquote, a sissy. And then a few years later, he committed suicide. And so I thought, this is evil. And then the state legislature, some gay and lesbian groups came to me and said, hey, there are some folks who want to ban this thing for medical practitioners to get medical credit for it. And I looked at them and I said, well, why don't we ban the whole thing? And so we set out to proceed to ban it for everyone in California. And Governor Brown signed that legislation.
Well, now, in terms of a ban, couldn't someone just maybe not go to the therapy? Like, why is there a ban necessary? Why is it needed?
Because, again, one, it's fraud. So people are wasting their money on a therapy that doesn't work. Second, it can actually harm people who go through this therapy. And during testimony on the legislation, we had people who went through this that testified that some of them tried to commit suicide afterwards. It can be very devastating to someone's mental state who goes through this therapy.
Now, what if someone has gone through the therapy and they claim it works? What do you say to that?
I think they're very likely lying to themselves. And what we saw recently is one of the founders of a major conversion therapy organization came out and said, actually, he's still gay. And so he then renounced the therapy and said also that it can be very harmful to individuals.
Wow. And you had mentioned, for example, it could cause suicide, depression. What other ways can it harm people if they go through this?
So they'll lose a lot of money to these purported therapists who are taking folks' money trying to cure them of a disease that doesn't exist. They can have, in addition to suicide and depression, they can get extreme anxiety. And just the feeling that something is wrong with you simply because you're LGBTQ, that really is a decades-old myth. There is nothing wrong with you. You're simply, again, a beautiful expression of what it means to be a human being.
And let's talk about also the passage of the bill. What do you predict for the passage of the bill?
So I've been introducing this bill repeatedly. I'm very pleased we have sponsors in the U.S. Senate, including Senator Murray and Senator Booker. So the House is now controlled by Democrats. I'm hopeful we can get this legislation out of the House of Representatives, and then we're going to try to get support in the U.S. Senate to get it passed.
Okay, great. Is there anything else that you want to add about this act?
That a lot of parents may not know that there's something wrong with this therapy, right? They may be getting information that says, hey, we can, quote unquote, fix your kid or cure your kid. And I just want parents to look into it some more and go, hey, why have so many states actually banned this? What could be wrong with this? Parents are not intentionally trying to hurt their kids. They may not have the information. And I urge them to do their own research on the internet, and they'll see that this therapy can be very harmful and it doesn't work.